Hello, my friend, and welcome to Wisdom Trek. I am Guthrie Chamberlain, your guide to wisdom and creating a living legacy. Thank you for joining us for our 5-day per week Wisdom and Legacy Building podcast. Today is day 551 of our trek, and it is Wisdom Wednesday. Every Wednesday along life's trail, we will dig for the nuggets of wisdom that are found in the book of Proverbs. Today, we'll explore the second half of chapter 30. We are broadcasting from our studios at the Big House in Marietta, Ohio. After nearly 3 weeks of constant travel, I am in our office most of this week before heading to Charlotte for 3 days. After that, I should be in for 2 weeks before heading to Arizona towards the end of March. Last week in our study of Proverbs, we switched our focus from King Solomon, who wrote most of the book of Proverbs, to a man we know little of whose name was Agur. Some of the translations indicates that Agur was writing to Ithiel and Ucal. These men could have been disciples or friends of Agur, although some Bibles translate the meaning of these two names with the assumption that they were not real or actual people. Most commentators believe that Agur lived in the same era as Solomon. We don't know much about Agur, except for what we can glean from this one chapter. This is one of my favorite chapters in Proverbs because of its rich imagery and contrasting statements. The name Agur comes from a Hebrew meaning collector. Agur and his father J.K. are only mentioned here in the Bible and otherwise are unknown. As we start with verse 18 today, Agur's talent for relating the obvious shines through. It is a Hebrew poetic style comparing similar statements for impact. This section starts out with a statement, "There are 3 things that amaze me." So let's dig into the nuggets of wisdom today that Agur shares in verses 18 through 33. Verses 18 and 19. "There are 3 things that amaze me, no 4 that I don't understand. How an eagle glides through the sky, how a snake slithers on a rock, how a ship navigates the ocean, how a man loves a woman." While we have made significant advancements in our scientific knowledge of the first 3 items that are listed, they still are an amazement to us. To witness in person an eagle in flight floating on the winds, or the snake slithering a rock at angles that we could never achieve, or how a large ship can navigate the very largest of oceans, this does leave us in awe. A greater mystery in life is what causes attraction between a man and a woman. Many times, the physical and emotional differences between couples are so different that you wonder what chemistry caused the attraction in the first place. All 4 of these references leave us standing in amazement. Verse number 20, "An adulterous woman consumes a man, then wipes her mouth and says, 'What's wrong with that?'" Another one of life's mysteries that can leave us pondering is the illicit affair between people who are already married to others. Those who are involved in such activity appear oblivious to the dangers. It is a situation that will never end well and causes such hurt and grief to all that are involved. Verses number 21 through 23. "There are 3 things that make the earth tremble, no 4 that it cannot endure. A slave who becomes king, an overbearing fool who prospers, a bitter woman who finally gets a husband, a servant girl who supplants her mistress." Here is an analogy that compares and contrasts and then adds a 4th element for emphasis. 3 things that will shake our very paradigm of our world. A slave who rises to the position of king, as this would be such an unusual occurrence, but it has happened on occasion. The next is a person who is obnoxious and treats others unkindly, and yet seems to prosper in life. Third is a person with a bitter and unhealthy attitude, and yet they still seem to find a mate in spite of it. And the 4th element for emphasis is where a servant girl rises through the ranks and becomes a lover to the one who is in authority. This is an unnatural and unhealthy relationship that will shake the very foundations of the family and household. Verses number 24 through 28. "There are 4 things on earth that are small but unusually wise. Ants that aren't strong, but they store up food all summer. Hyraxes that aren't powerful, but they make their homes among the rocks. Locusts, they have no king, but they march in formation. Lizards, they are easy to catch, but they are found even in the king's palaces." The next set of 4 examples are from the animal and insect world that shows those who are small but mighty can have a huge impact on their worlds. Ants are such tiny insects, and yet they work so hard during the summer to store up food necessary to survive even the harshest of winters. Hyraxes, or rock badgers, are an easy prey to a lot of predators, but they build sophisticated tunnel systems among the rocks so that they will always have a way to escape. Locusts, or grasshoppers, do not appear to have a ruler of the swarm, and yet they can move across the field in stark contrast, devouring vegetation as they proceed. And the last comparison in this section is that of a lizard. You can't keep them out of your homes or palaces. They will always find a way in. Although they can be caught, even those in high positions cannot control them easily. Verses 29 through 31. There are 3 things that walk in stately stride, no 4 that strut about. The lion, king of animals, who won't turn aside for anything. The strutting rooster, the male goat, a king as he leads his army. The next set of comparisons are from the animal kingdoms and are rather humorous to think about. 3 animals are compared to a king, all of who strut about as if they were rulers of all things. No one disputes the male lion is the king of all animals. Their presence and stately stride are second to none. Next, if you've ever raised chickens or goats, you know very well how a rooster or male goat will strut around as if they were the king. The last is comparing these animals to a human king who does strut before his army and subjects as if they were rulers of all the earth. And verses 32 and 33. If you have been a fool by being proud or plotting evil, cover your mouth in shame. As the beating of cream yields butter, and striking the nose causes bleeding, so stirring up anger causes quarrels. The final section of this chapter compares what problems are caused by someone who is a fool. It is a shameful thing. Just as the beating of cream will produce butter, or getting hit in the nose will cause it to bleed, so a fool will stir up anger of another, which inevitably will cause quarrels. Today on our Wisdom Trail, we are able to see the rich imagery of life presented by Agur. Next week, we will begin the final chapter of Proverbs. All the Proverbs provide us with rich wisdom, insight, and understanding on the myriad of life issues. Regardless of where you are on your faith walk, if the precepts in Proverbs are followed, your life will be rich and satisfying. So take them and plant them in your heart so that you can reap a harvest of wisdom. And I would challenge you today just to take one of the precepts that we learned from Proverbs and commit yourself to applying it to your life. Tomorrow we will hike another short trail on our Wisdom Unplugged series where we will discover an inspirational wisdom quote. So encourage your friends and families to join us and then come along with us tomorrow for another day of Wisdom Trek, creating a legacy. That will finish our trek for today. If you'd like to listen to any of the past treks or read the Wisdom Journal, they are available at wisdom-trek.com. And thank you so much for allowing me to be your guide, your mentor, but most importantly, I am your friend, as I serve you through the Wisdom Trek podcast and journal each day. And as we take this trek of life together, let us always live abundantly, love unconditionally, listen intentionally, learn continuously, lend to others generously, lead with integrity, and then leave a living legacy each day. I am Guthrie Chamberlain, reminding you to keep moving forward, enjoy your journey, and then create a great day every day. See you tomorrow.